Bam, bam, bam. He or she said, cancel this damn show. They hate it. What? Hold on. Wait a minute.
Make black hair great again.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Now, woo.
We're coming. Get our check.
Cheryl Morrow, the one, the only, the hair oracle.
What I did was Red Dot, and then we also had a cosmetology school instructor in the chat, Miss Denise West, Michelle Allen, Miss Foster. Dang, I missed your name. It's always nice to see Miss Foster in the chat. Michelle Allen, you know how much we love you too.
What? About a whole lot of peace. Cheryl, you order that in a bag of chips. Let me do your hair. Let me do your hair. What's happening, good people? How are you guys doing out there? Y'all know who it is. I know y'all got to know by now. It's me, your homegirl, Ladosha, Wright, aka Kilo. That's right. And then right over there, oh, wrong finger. Hold on, I get it together. Right over there, y'all know who it is. It's the hair oracle, Cheryl Morrow. And oh boy. Let me see. I think I got the. We a lot of episodes in on here, okay? Just so you should know. We about like 164. Did you know that?
We almost 200.
Welcome. Come on in, y'all. Come on in to the picnic because it's the Essence Festival picnic. Tonight we're going to digress. We're digressing from our topic about what has the natural hair movement taught us about split ends. And we're just going to, get on over here. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about this Essence Festival because everybody wants to know how did we get here? I know I can't sing. We're not supposed to be here. We done sold our stuff out for the last time. I'm about to get it. My heart says no more. I'm making up the words. No more. Deborah Cox, like if you don't.
No.
Welcome, Facebook. How y'all doing, Facebook? And of course, LinkedIn. How y'all doing, LinkedIn? LinkedIn still showing us some love. We got people be scrolling past like on 22s. What's up, LinkedIn? How you doing? And then of course, my YouTube family. How's everybody doing on YouTube? Instagram. There's a glitch in Instagram.
Yeah, they working it out.
Yeah, and I can't quite try to figure that one out. But there is a way to go live on TikTok from StreamYard. If you know how to do that, can you inbox me or DM me and whatever y'all do me, and show me how to do that, okay? Because it's like Brandy, almost doesn't count. So again, we are 164 episodes in, and tonight the topic is about Essence Festival of Culture, change cultures, So what did they do? And so Cheryl called me because I didn't know anything about it. Of course, I was just like, okay, Essence Festival. I've never been to an Essence Festival. I've tried to go on several occasions, but it was always something else that was just pressing that I had to do, and I wasn't able to make it. So but I do understand from everybody that goes, it was the trip of all trips. Like every person that I know who went to an Essence Festival was like, baby. It was like blickety. It was blackety black. Black. I mean, you just couldn't get no blacker than that. And so here we are today, and that is not the case. And so when we talk about some of the dumbest shit that people say about black hair, well, we understand that the owner of Essence was the owner of Shea Moisture Hair Care Products. I actually brought some pictures up of some of the stuff that he used to own, and we're going to get into it a little bit more. But just to, there's just some pictures of some of the stuff that he owned. Some a soap company, right? It didn't come up on my thing for whatever reason. Okay, well, anywho, it was called Nubian Soaps. You guys may not remember that. Is this it? Oh yeah, that ain't it. Okay, I thought I had it. Yeah, so he owned a soap company, he and his mom, And then he went on to find or create or formulate or whatever, mix up Shea Moisture, and it grew into obviously a multi-million dollar brand. So to the point that Sundial, no, it's not Sundial. What is it? Bain? No, who bought that?
Originally, Bain Capital.
Bain Capital. Okay. I always want to say Sundial. I don't know why. But Bain Capital.
Sundial was his company.
Oh, that's why you gotta get your facts straight when you're doing these podcasts out here. Because y'all people, y'all be like, Ladosha got it all messed up. But that's what we do. We gonna get it together. What's up, Yah Tay? Yah Tay was trying to help me out. I saw her. Hey, don't forget, y'all gotta subscribe to Real Roots. Her podcast was good last night. She talked about how to service children. So on Thursdays, we focus on the professional industry as well. So to those of you who are new to our platform, we say welcome. Again, welcome on Facebook, welcome on LinkedIn, and of course, welcome on YouTube. And so this particular platform is America's favorite podcast about Afro hair. We have two areas of discussion that we focus on. And tonight it's about the dumbest shit that people say about Black hair. By the time Cheryl gets y'all through this one, y'all gonna be like, oh boy, that's some pretty dumb shit. So it's a historical lesson, because I told you guys when I did my book, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, I could not believe how much history. I feel like I was in a history class. It was very emotional, by the way. So we're going to get into that, a little bit, like I said, more tonight. And so that's what we do here. And then on Thursdays, we have one for professionals, but tonight is for the consumer. And so, so that's where we're at. And so you want to hop right into it, or do we want to talk about the stupid number 45 was just allowed to, fire all the people at the Department of Education?
I can't keep up. What did he do today?
The Supreme Court said, yeah, go ahead. You can fire all those people from the Department of Education.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They ain't, well, what they call themselves? They said they ain't educating nobody anyway.
Wow. But just right quick, y'all, I just wanted, I did a little dig, because when you have a podcast, you just become a digger, just a nosy digger. And so I kind of dug up that Linda McCann, I don't know how you say her last name. So she's McMahon. Oh, how you say it? McCann? Okay. McMahon. So she is the head of the Department of Education, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you read her illustrious, her little bio, her little Wikipedia, you go onto the government's page, and it talks about how she went to college, she majored in French, and that she wanted to become a teacher. And so this made her an illustrious candidate. And I'm like, but did she become a teacher? No. So you go on and you read a little bit more. So she was a teen mom. She got married. She married that guy, the wrestling guy, who was heading up the wrestling thing. He was a philanderer of women, of course. And so, they're still married, but they're separated. They've not been together for I don't know how long. And I just thought, have you ever heard that saying where a person is like seething? And I just think the reason why she in particular is really happy to be in that position is because she never became a teacher. Right. She believed in the whole, get married, have kids. That was the thing to do back in those days, in the late 50s, early 60s or whatever. And that just didn't work out. And so she just comes across like a bitter person. And it seems like it's very personal. And she's also being used when you read this. I mean, it reads like a nasty soap opera. Her life is very messy. And I think not that a person's personal life
matters. Well, shit.
Right.
Donald Trump's is messy as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, just because you're married to a super hoe don't mean, But I mean, her actions, it just kind of speaks to a person who is a little scorned. And so they have her in this place. And like you said, people say that they're not teaching much in schools anyway, but hey, I'm a product of the American education. And I would definitely say they definitely missed their mark, but it was something. But you got to have some education. And so, anywho.
But the public school system You know, one of the things that we always, what is really, America's got to make up its mind what it wants to be. It wants to be successful, wants to be prosperous, wants to be the richest country in the world, in the history of the world. Just doesn't treat its people like that. We don't have, like, the American lifestyle is really wrought with, it just seems like the prosperity it seems impoverished. The prosperity of America seems like it's always looking over its shoulder, waiting for the shoe to drop. It doesn't feel this ever flowing country of the land of milk and honey. It just really seems really because universal health care and guaranteed education.
And the truth of, let's just
and wait a minute, they talk about it as if those things are privileges.
well, we could just go on and cut through the chase. It just, it's a podcast, so we might as well, kick the ballistics. G, what's up, Week A? I see you in the chat. I told y'all my phone didn't recognize my hair, so I'm gonna have to straighten it out. I can't believe it, because I was gonna rock this for the rest of the summer. Like, I'm just gonna keep this going. But I do a lot of stuff in my phone, and it's got face recognition. So today I've been very non-productive. I barely got into my YouTube, because everything on your phone, you gotta, put your face on it.
So now that your hair is curly, it don't.
It's like I don't know you. I'm like, you know who this is? No. You know who this is. It's only 1 kilo long. Anywho, I digress. And let's just go on to cut through the chat, through the chase. All right. And the chase is the country was built on free labor of Black people. And they just it was so lucrative. And then the people who didn't, because you'll hear a lot of people, historians, and well, it wasn't like that many white people owned that slaves, that percent was like 1 in 5 or 1 in 3 or 1 in 10. You got so many numbers of how many white people really owned slaves, but they ain't have to own them. You still had white privilege. You know what I'm saying? And so at the end of the day, I just feel like
that's what I'm saying. The white privilege seems still poor, deprived, and meager, as if they were still in Europe.
Right. And then another thing is that I don't know why they just don't want to, like, the poor white people, like, why they just can't admit, like, y'all being duped too, because it's not Black people, it's not white, it's poor people that they don't like. I mean, they were escaping aristocracy.
You want to say it differently?
Because we're just trying to get y'all,
Dear white people, rich white people don't ever and will never like you.
Never. Right. Even if you say, well, at least I ain't Black, they like, but your ass is poor, And so that's just
is
synonymous.
Is synonymous, right?
With Black. And I think that they
Black,
don't
color, Hispanics, Indians, they are scavengers.
Right. And Hispanics and Mexicans, those are not Black people. People, I thought they was like, no, because remember now, when you come from Europe, no matter, you could come in Irish, right? You could come in Polish, you could come in, what's that? Italian, but once you get to America.
I do Mexicans speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Spain is almost 3,000 miles away.
Oh yeah, Spain was a motherfucker. They don't talk about Spain.
It was
conquistadors. Spain was crazy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, y'all better learn y'all history out here. But the thing of it is that when you come from those places and you get to America, you get to be white.
Yeah.
And if you don't follow Gerald Horne, I'm gonna put his name, please, y'all. Now y'all know I'm a nerd. I mean, I'll be listening to Gerald Horne like he Gerald Levert. Now y'all know that's some serious.
Oh my God!
Because y'all know I tried to marry Gerald Levert. Y'all didn't know that? I did. He didn't know it though. Look at Week A. Week A, like, how you try? Kay, I did. I tried to marry him. I sure did. But anywho, I have to tell you about that another day. But let's get on into the topic. We're gonna get ready to talk about this Essence Festival culture. Essence Festival of Culture changed culture. I got a little question mark after that. Okay, got a little question mark. So what I want to do to kind of set this thing off, I can only get so many videos on this platform. I had like 1,000 of them, but it won't let you get but so many up here. So what I think I want to do is kind of start at the beginning, because I think the first question that people want to know is, the argument off the rip is that in the changing of the cultures is that they focus too much on Africa, West Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, they was like, no, all the Afro beats, you know what I'm saying? East, I'm sorry, East. Okay. So they wasn't feeling the Afro beats, the Afro vibe, the rice jollof versus jambalaya. They really wasn't feeling that. And so the argument is that Africans, Caribbeans, they come to America, they go to our schools, they get all the American stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then they kind of snooty us, because I will hear that people will say Africans think they're better than Americans. I've not experienced it. Let me just say that I know a plethora of Africans, not just Fatu. I have never experienced that, but a lot of people have. So that is where we begin that there's a acculturation, assimilation, and a siphoning off of Black American culture is the problem. Mm-hmm. So I think if we could start off with just briefly, Cheryl, what is Black culture? So we could I want all of us to be on the same page, so we could define what is Black culture. And then if you could, kind of go right into an example using Dennis Richelieu. We got to use Dennis, okay, because he is the African that I don't know, was he born in America or did he come here? I'm gonna look that up while you're talking. But there he is in Harlem at one of the spots where I think that's where he was. So that's Mr. Richelieu Dennis. Is actually his name is not Dennis, but it's Richelieu Dennis. So, and how he just kind of segued into beauty, and that opens the door of how we actually got here. So, because nobody's telling that story. This is what's going to make our podcast different from all the other people talking about the Essence festival or fiasco. Is that Cheryl is going to right now tell you exactly how we got here. So first explain to us what is Black culture, and then take us through how this young man, he's handsome by the way, from Liberia infiltrated, and I don't know if he infiltrated, but he made his mark here in America. Yeah, I don't want to seem like I'm hating.
I understand what you're saying. Right.
Yeah, I ain't gonna hate on the brother, because that's what America's land of opportunity. But anywho, go ahead.
The best way I can describe it is that if Black America, Afro America, American, Afro, Polynesian, Western, Black American, just imagine Black America was actually a country in Africa. It would have had borders. It would have been separate. And then inside Black America would have been several different parts. Southern Black Americans, Northern Black Americans, Western Black Americans, right? But just imagine that we are completely North American Black people. And when people say continental, means that North American is a continent, includes the Caribbean, right? But when you think about us, we have created a Black culture separate from the African continental experience.
But now you're going to include the Caribbeans into the American culture.
Well, you have to remember, North America includes the West Indies,
Not in the chat. We want y'all to come on, get some Discord. That's why we asked y'all to join the live, because we know some people like, no, that ain't that. You cannot include no dang on Caribbeans. But anywho, okay, so you are gonna include,
but you have to understand this. We're talking about colonial, the makeup. Okay.
right? I'm just trying to help you. Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Because what most people think that Black people did was to just jump from the west coast of Africa and then come straight here. Maybe there may be some ships that did, but it's really the stop. You have to remember, South America is right in between Africa and North America.
Mm-hmm.
South America is right in between it. So you go through there, you mix them up, and then most of us, they went through the Caribbean, West Indies, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're called West Indians, because Indians in the West, that.
See, there it is. No, don't include the Caribbeans into the American.
Okay, so the issue is that I want you guys to understand that there was a continental kind of coalition between Haitians, Caribbean Black people, and then we got shipped off to the actual continental, what they call continental US, the continental US. Okay. Now we're not talking about the West Indians of 50 years, the immigration West Indians. We're talking about the slave colonial plantation era of West Indies. Make sure that you make that distinction. So that's how most of us came from the Middle Passage through South America, through the West Indies, then through plantation West Indies. Then
why do you think Black Americans grapple with the reality that we didn't come straight from, let's just say, Gambia to America?
I'm not saying
because
that
you see that,
right? You have some stories of the Amistad, and they did some of the slave ship routes, but the majority went through a process of South America through the West Indies. Okay,
I wanted to put that map up so you guys can see.
Yeah,
you need
South America is right there in the middle, right?
Y'all see that?
So you guys, right? Go ahead.
No, I just wanted you to lean over a little bit, Cheryl. So I want to leave that camera the other way. There you go. We just, because we got a spoon. We gonna walk y'all through. We got to get y'all through this, okay? Because it's hard, and I know it's hard because they don't talk about it, okay? So
just remember that there is a plantation connection. The plantations. There were more plantations first in the West Indies than there were on the 13 colonies in Jamestown. See, remember 1619 Jamestown came really later, but they were up and moving in the West Indies. Okay. And so just make sure that when I say West Indies and we're talking about the Caribbean, right? I'm not talking about the immigrant era. I'm not talking
about modern day. We're talking about you have to include them into the definition of,
because those
Black Americans
Indians also came here and was included into what they call, I think Dr. Henry Clark will call it indenture era, which is 1776 when it became chattel slavery. That's what North Black Americans are talking about when they say ADOS or they talk foundational Blacks. You're talking about the chattel slavery era at that point. Just to make sure that we're talking about the right thing.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Yep. Okay. Thank you, Kay. Okay. We just want to make sure, because a lot of people, they don't want to talk about the Caribbeans in that word Black. But I'm not
talking about the immigration after plantation era and chattel slavery era.
Yeah.
That's when, you know, because
you would be talking about like a Kamala Harris. She wouldn't fall into your that's what they say, but she wouldn't.
Right, because you have to remember her father was on that, her father's people was on that boat that probably came through South America, came through West Indies, and those blacks stayed there on those plantations in the West Indies. The ones who didn't got shipped to the plantations of the continental US.
And she did admit that. Right. I think she did disclose that her father is a descendant of slavery on the islands of West.
That you have to remember, because some of them stayed. That's why you have blacks on that look like black folks in Jamaica, in Trinidad, and that's why they look like that, because they stayed. They were, but they were already on plantations at that point. Now, there was some, just like there was freed blacks here, there was free black there too, just not enough of them.
Right.
But the chattel slavery began, and then most black slaves did get shipped to the continental, which is the United States portion, not
right.
The West.
And there's that bigger arrow right here, guys. You see all along the coast, you know, the Virginias and okay, all right, okay. So now
that's the slave ships we talking about.
All right,
about that era.
Okay, so this is now. We ain't making this up. Okay, this is not an opinion, y'all. These are the facts. Okay, so now we're gonna move into a little bit more. We're talking about what does it mean? We're defining Black Americans. Okay, keep going. We're doing good. This is good.
So when we so after you take memory, historical reference, okay, because you're talking about each generation has to start over at this point. Okay, so you have what we call the plantation ancestors. Those are your progenitors. Some of them, and we just got it cleared that some of them stayed on the plantations to work banana and coconuts and all kind of other stuff in the West Indies. And then the other ones were brought here for cotton. Okay, because the terrain in the continental US was different than the terrain and climate in West Indies. So they grew different things. So those blacks stayed there, and and so when you have all of these fabulous revolts, okay, but one thing is common though. It's really clear, and I checked the sources of Dr. Clark. It's very clear. We did have a national kind of brethren, sisterin, that we were all African. That is very clear. Okay. And so we didn't try to become anything else, but I do believe after the chattel slavery, the cultures and how, because one of the things that when white people are foreign or the British, Portuguese, or you know what I mean, or the Spanish, once they leave a place, they really don't have control over what the culture does at that point. And that's why you do have such a different culture in the West Indies than you do in the continental US, because the colonizers are different. They're from different places. So Spaniards live different and eat different. So they do eat a lot of rice dishes, because Spaniards were influenced by North Africa. And so, but the Spain was not, they did not, we were actually in a country where white folks lived. Being a colony and having Spain so far away, those particular blacks, and then having South America in the middle, and those influences from Brazil or Uruguay or Paraguay, or those are the indifferent influences. So you do have those influences around the Mexican peninsula, right, and Louisiana, Mississippi. But the ones who came here, we had to mix English culture, our memories of Black American or African, and some who did also mix Spanish culture. or Moorish culture.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is what we call Black American culture.
All right, y'all like the way? Let me drop the bomb. That was, she get a round of applause because she brought it. She brought it straight through the line and help it make sense. You're not gonna get this. I look like hairstylist. Hit the thumbs up button because Cheryl is dropping the knowledge as we talk about Essence Festival of Culture Changed Culture.
Mm-hmm.
Question mark after that.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's keep moving on. And if you got any questions, go ahead on and drop them in the chat. We're also, if you want to add to it, you the Nosh or you missed a part. Come on, let's get after it. Just get in the discourse. Okay. So now we have a defining moment of Black culture. Okay. Culminating. Did y'all see that? A culminating event of events. Right. Okay. There you go.
Right. It's almost like to describe it is we made it up as we went, but by the time we get to Jim Crow, because you do have the stories in Black hair care like Pierre Toussaint. Pierre Toussaint had to go back home to his native plantation land called Haiti. Right, and Haiti was the big dog, was the big monster. It was bubbling, okay. And the imports in I think Trinidad or Jamaica and Tobago and Haiti, and as well as Black people on Puerto Rico and the Dominican. Those are dark skinned people, but the exports were different. We were the kings of cotton, and those were probably what they call the strongest Black people coming to the United States, because of course the colonies, England, and or in that revolutionary or the American Revolutionary War, they wanted the best, strongest Black folks. So those are the ones who came here, and mixing. That is what we call as we went into the Civil War. That's ADOS. That's FBAs.
Right. So let's get right. So now because now we moved on up. We here now. So now you got your FBAs. That's Foundational Black Americans, and then you have your ADOS. That's American Descendants of Slavery. So here's now there are several channels on YouTube that's going to tell you their version of what FBA is. So this is one of many. So here's the take on what is FBA, Foundational Black Americans. Here we go. Getting messy boots. Here we go.
So many recent controversies. Everybody's wondering what FBAs are. And here's a simple explanation. It's a lineage of people. For example, if you go to Ireland, the people there are Irish. If you go to Ethiopia, the people there are Ethiopian. If you come to America and you're talking about the American Black people who are descendants of freedmen, also known as descendants of the enslaved, that is a foundational Black American. It's not an ideology. It's not a group. And even FBA people will be talking about this, and they'll be on YouTube talking about, the FBA group or the FBA members. I'm like, bro, you don't even know it, but you're FBA. Like, what are you talking about? I just thought this was common knowledge at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
so in this example, and again, there's several, they're starting the foundation of the definition of Black pretty much at 1619. So go ahead, Cheryl.
Well, you're the generation of Black people that did not migrate. And we all know that most people, Black Africans, did not migrate even through the West Indies. These were people who were taken, were loot, people who were into what we call the indenture slave class. So you did not come here as freed, and you did not come without being owned. You were property. That next generation is what we call foundational, because you didn't come from anywhere. You weren't even shipped in.
Like our great great grandparents. Okay.
Foundational Black, not the ones who actually came here.
Right. Okay. So we're moving through. So now we're into where the Africans come in, and
Mhm.
now we have the culture debate.
And
So
what and let's just be clear here too. Complexion, hair texture, your pheno traits, um, your body makeup, also were put in what we call a class. And so that's one of the things that we get about even being of African descent, because of course we had the straight hair rule, the blue vein, right? The being light in certain features, you were Creole, and then of course all of the interbreeding set your features, set who you were. Let's say you have some of the classes in Senegal. You have the Serer, you'll have the Wolof, and you'll have the Fulani, and those people have certain, but you still had that same class system even in America, and those kind of dictate who you were. So because we were so starkly, our features were so starkly different from Europeans, come from Britain, Scottish or Italian, or you're just European, right? You're automatically just going to get African.
okay.
You're not
All
going
right.
to get Polynesian. You know what I mean? You're not going to get even macaroon.
Okay. All right.
You, you're not going to get any of that. You're just going to get thrown in there. So
Okay.
after foundational blacks, then because of course there were a lot of Seminole Indians who were
Right.
also black.
Yep. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we're going to move into the divisive part. Now this is Caroline Wenger. I think they're saying she's not even the CEO of Essence now. I don't know what she is,
I mean, she's
but
an
let's
interim
yeah.
ghost
So
filling.
she's saying that if you do all this separation, you ain't where it's at. And so now we're gonna talk about the separation. We're gonna come back to Dennis and how we got here. Okay,
Here.
but we had to set the tone. All right. So Caroline is saying, Cheryl, what y'all would you did the FBA and the ADO, y'all cut the okay. So here we go, guys. Here she goes.
Pet peeve of mine that I'm gonna put on the table and then we're gonna shut up. All this BS about African versus US black versus Caribbean black versus Canadian black versus Antarctica black. I don't have facts to prove that. We everywhere. Arctic black. If you allow that narrative to exist within you, you're participating in dismantling who we're supposed to be in this world, y'all.
All right. So the dismantling begins with Mr. Dennis. So let's take us through how did he get to Essence? Like what did he do to get there to dismantle to because she says there's no division. But clearly after what you just learned, there are distinct differences between Black American, Caribbean, there are differences. Okay. So how do we get here with Dennis where he bought this company? Because this is where they want to know what does hair like? Why would two podcast cosmetologists, cosmetic trichologists, both of y'all authors, y'all policy advocate going around the country trying to save, all this other bullshit y'all doing. So what y'all got to do with this conversation? Because hair ain't got nothing to do with Essence. So
It actually does.
oh shoot, y'all get ready, get y'all notebooks.
Mm-hmm. Because but just let me address one thing here, because these are the details. Okay. One of the things that maybe you won't hear the Bronners, the Gardners, the Dudleys, or all what we call the 5 dynastic Black families who built the industrial industry, what we call Black hair care. We just had the Franklins. You had the Madam M.S. Gold Young. You had the Zenobia, right? With the Franklin family. You have all these foundational blacks coming and trying to build what we call an economy for what we called our first non-slave class after Juneteenth, trying to get into the 20th century with us building an economy. So what does this have to do with hair? And why?
Before you do that, they got to hit the button because we dropping jewels, Cheryl. So Wike and Sandra's in the chat said, y'all want to know what this got to do with hair? Hit the thumbs up button. Hit it right now. Show them how to do it, Cheryl. She got to take a sip of water. Here we go. This is how you do it, like this. Just that's it. Now it's getting thick. Come on in. I see the building is getting full. Grab a seat, get y'all Kool-Aid. We are dropping the knowledge about Essence Festival of Culture. Changed its culture, ? And so Cheryl, is just in case y'all wondering, why would two cosmetologists be talking about this festival? That ain't got nothing to do with hair, but we beg to differ. So Cheryl, carry on.
So, and we're going to probably veer off so we can really truly understand how we kind of get a little weird. Mm-hmm. So you had beginning of 19th to 20th century, right? Then you have, let's say, Annie Malone. Because one of the things that we have to also understand is that after chattel slavery in 1776, and you're going into 17th Reconstruction, and you go into the Civil War, and then you're coming into the beginning of the 20th century, Black people's plight is already, I think we are, 2 generations? We're about 4 generations in. Those are the foundational Black Americans that we're talking about, not the original. So therefore, let's say hair. And so when you have, we have Polo College, right? Then you're going to have your S.B. Fullers, and you're going to have everybody, your Garrett Morgans. You're going to have all of your flux of Sarah Spencer Washington, all of these. And then you're going to get into your early 1919s, 1915. 1904s, and then that's when you start building the industry. Now, strange thing about the immigrants of West India, the Caribbean, and West Africans and Central Africans, is that they have a notion that, and it's not because they're interacting with what we call foundational Blacks. They're not interacting because there is something about once you migrate here, right? Do not hang out, do not settle, do not coalesce, and do not fraternize with foundational Blacks. They are actually told that. Okay. And I know some of Miss Carolyn Wanga's conversation when you find out that her family participated in the destruction of Kenyans even trying to get free. And we also had some of our slave revolts where our people told on us. So we had a lot of foundational Blacks protected each other from outsiders. And we also, let's be clear too, we also did not trust Native Americans either. Mm-hmm. Okay. So just think about how close-knit we were about our person, where our family was, where our family members, where we trying to have church privately, trying to read privately. We were very, very private in who we, because we did not trust other groups of people because of their reason, bounty hunters and things of that nature. I do remember my grandparents saying that in the song, Kendrick Lamar, that song, they're not like us. It was a saying that was a feeling of foundational blacks.
And I just wanted to kind of back up a little bit. Now we see Kay's statement to not include the Caribbeans, because at this point in the lesson, now they are immigrants, because now you have to be born in America. You're a citizen. Now America is formed, even though they got Jim Crow. But
remember, the continental U.S. foundational ADOS Black people were the first generation after the parents that came. They're born here, right?
Because in the separate but
they're
ego,
building riches, benefits, opportunities, and wealth for European immigrants. Come here, get a plot of land, get a homestead, get this from the federal government, get this from the federal government.
Kick the Indians out their house and shit,
treaties, okay? And there's also the Freedmen's Bureau, because at the end of the day, also the foundational blacks felt that the federal government gypped them.
Right, because remember, this is right before the 14th Amendment, right? Because we're not it's afterwards. I'm sorry, we're coming after, because now they say, okay, they got to be citizens, right? Because before that, we were not.
And you also have to remember, while this is going on, there's like 7, 8 presidents trying to figure out
what to do with us.
Right.
What are we gonna do with these colors?
Because, and two, half the country is pro-slavery, and the other ones are anti-slavery, and not because they like black people. Okay, yeah. But and I know Bill O'Reilly has a book of killing Abraham Lincoln. Most people understood. Barack Obama got sworn in on the Abraham Lincoln Bible, but everybody had their own issues. And so foundational blacks, very private, very sticking together. And so immigration, and there also were Native American treaties or Native American groups that got treaties that they weren't supposed to get. They were supposed to be exclusive for Black Americans. So we're sore and pissed about that too. And so we begin to make sure that foundational or ADOS or Black true Americans, that we're constantly getting disrespected. And
this is where hair comes in, right? Where they start to.
And every group is starting to disrespect us. Okay. And that is where we get all of the hotness, and we're vehement, and we're tired of being disrespected. That's where that particular comes from, because it's historic, right?
Right. And so in the folds of this,
Right. And so the building of our industries, like the cars, we're inventing things, we're inventing brushes, we're inventing a lot of things that is to get into. You can look at the Congressional Patent Office. We're doing and making a lot of strides, but to be clear, immigrants that look like us are coming here because of our sacrifice and our hard work. And so, that pins us against each other naturally. And I think because of that opportunity, especially when it comes to the building of, at the time of building Black hair care, you did have Black baseball, the Negro League, and then you had jazz. And so we had those particular markets, and we had the Portmans, we had the domestics. Okay.
Right. Now, don't confuse that with jobs that immigrants got. Okay. Because don't do that. They did not get those.
Right. But then, and of course, that's a whole nother, because when you go to New York, even in, between the 1980s and the 1990s, West Indian women had the domestic jobs that Black women had prior 100 years ago. And so that's a whole nother issue. But why is hair the most easiest entry point for Black immigrant prosperity? That's the question. I want you guys to repeat that question. Why is hair, not music, not fashion, Even though we were fashion designers, we were ball club owners. Okay, we were jazz club owners. Why hair? Out of all the industries,
Why is hair?
was
Repeat the
it
question.
easiest to infiltrate, come in, and why was that game on for a Richelieu Dennis and a Naima Tubman? Why hair was the easiest to infiltrate? If you think about that question, because we were in fashion, we made sewing machines, we made clothes. So why wouldn't immigrants easily come into fashion and be able to do the same thing that many have done? Because Richelieu is just a many. He's not the first one to have to do that. Okay.
Right.
But
right.
why
Now we're
not
getting
sports? Why
yeah,
not sports?
now
Sports, you had black baseball, but black baseball was what? Infiltrated by removing Jackie Robinson, and then all black people left the Negro League and went to the major leagues. But that's a whole nother story. But black hair care, black beauty, black barbering did stay true. For some reason, now remember in prior podcasts, we did state that while we were building black hair care, white hair care was not institutionalized. We institutionalized it. Institutionalizing mean that we gave it a purpose. We had rules. We had regs. We had a way of doing things. We created products. We created methods. We created education. That was what we call the start of black hair care and what styling Jim Crow is about.
There's our source. There is our source on that. In case you guys are like, y'all reaching. No, we're not reaching. We're teaching. Can I drop the bomb on myself for that?
Bar. That's the bar.
Did y'all matter of fact? Can I do that? My co-host Wike and Sandra. Can I drop the bomb? We're not reaching. We are teaching.
Right. And so here we go. And and so when you look at, let's just say for Annie Malone, Pilgrim College, it was very important, even though we were foundational, ADOS black people, we, like I said before earlier, we tried to stay true to the African portion of our global citizenship. We did try to, because in her early ads, 1903, 1905, 1910, it was of African queens.
Yeah.
Wanted us to pull in and draw from. And so at that point, we weren't trying to be a whole new Negro. We were trying to always keep the African center at the forefront of our new American identity, which is Black American.
All right. So we have a response to your question. There's one, and feel free, guys. Let's be interactive here. We're all here to learn. Mm-hmm. Why was hair the easiest to infiltrate and do what people like Richelieu Dennis did? And so she says, "This is Kay. We had to style our hair to fit in with the larger culture. That's why it was easy for a person like Richelieu Dennis to infiltrate."
Now, I want you guys
to get to that Essence magazine purchase.
Okay. One of the things that I want, if we can, and I think I've asked you guys many times to try to not do this. If we were trying to assimilate and fit in, then how did the Afro hair movement of 1965 happen? Please, just listen. Just try to, if assimilating, trying to fit in, trying to get next to the white beauty standard, why did the Afro movement happen? If we were trying to do that in the first place, Afro movement would have never happened. Right? You just don't get up. Black folks just don't get up one day and then just all of a sudden start just wanting to wear afros or wanting to wear their hair natural or unpressed, because the hair was natural. It was just heat treated. Okay. Black men would not have reversed and stopped conking, because they was conking 50 years prior to what we are talking about in the early 20th century. Why did that happen? And so when we try to, describe our experience, we're always trying to kind of fix the conversation or the questions to say, oh, because we was trying to assimilate, or we was trying to be. No, we were trying to move our economic conditions forward, because Black hair care was built on an economic industrial complex. Now, why was it different and so much easier to infiltrate it? Why? Because Black people owned it 100% from the top to the bottom. That's why it was easy to do that. Fashion, you got to participate, but whites still own 100% of the industrial complex. Sports, we did have teams and we played, but they owned the industrial complex. Black hair care, Black people not only had the hair, wore the hair, participated, we owned 100% of the industrial complex. That's why it was easier, because we have to remember, Blackness in a world based on the simple, low intellectual, vibrational intelligence such as America is only based on how you look and how you sound. And so Blackness, just because you're dark, you're either male or you have thick lips, you may be us, not us, but it doesn't matter, because Black people don't create class systems like the ones that Europeans create.
So why do you think? Because we don't know Richelieu Dennis. We ain't talk. I don't know if he's gonna ever come on this podcast, but we sure enough can invite him.
I don't know him personally, but I do know of him. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think he wanted to infiltrate? Why did he leave the soap making and come into hair?
But
did you say? Well,
but I want you guys to also understand, just like we said in the nails, Black people or African people, okay, continental African people, do not separate hair, beauty, skin, nails, eyes, and eyeballs and ears. They don't separate it. So beauty, that's why it was called beauty culturists or beauty culture. Soaps and cleanliness, hygiene, and hair and beauty are the same thing. So soaps allows you to get into what we call personal care. Personal care is under the umbrella of Black hair care. Black hair care is the big umbrella.
So it was a natural segue for him to make this.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. All
absolutely.
Right. Okay.
So then you go into soaps, then you go into lotions. So when they had that particular bookstore and they were part of that particular entity, and you walked into there on the Fifth Avenue, right? Fragrances, soaps, scents, all of that is what we call personal care. Goes under the umbrella of beauty culture. Beauty culture is under the umbrella of the industrial hair care beauty industry. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so you can, what we call, or as people would say, cosplay. Okay. Because first of all, Black people index I'm tired of leaning over as it says, but Black people are extremely, we index high, and everyone looks at.
What does index high mean?
Means that a big per capita of our money goes towards a certain industry. Our buying habits are trackable, and you can track our buying. Okay. And because Black continental foundational ADOS Black folks do have a tendency or a proclivity or a propensity to support Black owned things. See, it's a mental thing. It means something to us because we are it's a historical thing. We are emotional buyers. We are historical buyers. We are economic empowerment buyers. And so when people who look like you cosplay as ADOS, foundational, continental, Black American, or Afro American, that is an easy segue into creating the dominant story behind. For instance, there's a product called Bevel, a young man out of Silicon Valley. And as we go into this, deeper into the conversation, the main story of the product, before we even knew that the product was good, was that he was a young Black boy from the Silicon Valley. As if that is going to make our major decision to buy the product. And so a Richelieu dentist, okay, has the opportunity, and let me just go and be very clear. Banks. Now you have to remember, 1725, we have what? Meritorious manumission. You can get your freedom based on what? Protect a white person's property, save a white person's life, invent something that a white person can make money from, right? And tell on your own people in insurrection. That's how you can gain your freedom. Give or less if there are one or more or two of those options. But when you have all of this built into the psyche of what a Black American is, there's a lot of things that matter to us in the marketplace. And being able to look the part makes us susceptible to us believing that Black things by Black people is better, which is a good thing. And I can admit that is how Black hair care was taken. Or how Black hair became this big, huge juggernaut that made everybody want to eat off of it and feed off of it and get into it, right?
Right.
So when you cosplay and you are easily, and you look the part, you are easy to. Now, even though your heart may be in your homeland, but we don't get to find these things out until you start showing your socio-political and economic politics, and especially who you align yourself with. And by that time, Black people have given, that mask may come off 5 years later, you know what I mean? Or 10 years later, or a decade later, right? And it may be an opportunity for maybe Black hair care is that same opportunity that white folks sold to Europeans and say, come on over. You can infiltrate, get a plot of land. And maybe Black hair care was the equivalent of the 40 acres of in a mule to a lot of immigrants.
So now he's infiltrated. He's in, okay. And he's making the millions, and now it's sold, and now here we are moving up to current day of the topic,
right? And he has seen 50 to 60 years prior of great success of the Johnsons, Soul Train. He's a little boy now, and he's in America, and he has seen the power of R&B and soul music and what the great imports.
Okay.
Right?
Now, let me just, can I just play devil's advocate? Let me play devil's advocate, okay? Mm-hmm. Are we hating? I mean, why didn't we buy it? I mean, why did not Magic Johnson, instead of buying Starbucks, why didn't they do? Or whatever. I'm just, these are wealthy people. That's what I mean. Right. Mm-hmm. He bought something into Starbucks. He put some money into Starbucks.
Yeah, he had in Harlem. He had Magic Johnson AM's theaters.
Yeah. So why we mad? Because Dennis said, well, I did the American dream. I mean, y'all hating on me. Here it is. This is from Time Magazine, puts this out and says, now Essence is Black owned again. Right. So we're going to move on up, because I got my next picture. We're going to move into, again, the Essence Festival of Culture, changed cultures. So now Dennis bought it, and
Well, let me ask you a question. The question is not that question. Why? What made it valuable? That's more of the question.
Oh,
What?
did I hear that?
What is it about the essence? Because he wanted it because it was Black American.
There's that one, guys.
Okay. Now let's be clear. What is the value of essence? Now it was started. It was not started by women. It was started by Black men. Because of course, their love for the Black women in their lives. Okay. And so highly inspired. Okay. And I think one of the original founders just recently died. And of course, Black men didn't have a magazine without having, I think it was Marcia Gillespie, who was way before Susan Taylor, and then Susan Taylor, obviously, went on to be legendary.
So the question isn't why didn't we buy it? The question you said should be what
We
made
did
it
buy
valuable.
it. We
No,
started.
I mean once it fell and then it was up for grabs. I don't know who bought it, who had it before
Time Warner.
women. Okay, okay. So Time Warner said, "Oh, let me get some of them black dollars." Okay, but then they said, "Yeah, you know what? Nah, it's a little too blankety black for us. Who want this?" So then they said, "I get it. Come on, bring that on over here." Okay, so now he has it. Does he have a right to do what he wants?
I don't think that we have an issue with his ethnicity in terms of it being in his hands or their hands or its hands or any other subsequent immigrant's hands. I want to be very clear about that. The problem is that you can't put it this way. Do you guys realize that soul food is the only cuisine you can't do in bulk?
I would agree.
You cannot do it in bulk.
They tried with them sweet potato pies, but it just flippity. You have to make. You probably can make 4 sweet potato pies. After that, you're gonna have some issues. I'm just saying. That's just me personally. I know Patty LaBelle might beg to differ. But
no, you can't. You cannot. That's why most soul food restaurants, it just is one of those cuisines that is in the wrist, baby. And Blackness is in the wrist. And so we don't mind the fact that they're owners. That's not our issue. The issue is that you can't fake influence. You just can't fake it. And so the best thing, if I wanted to go and buy a Caribbean brand, if you think my foundational Afro Black American ass gonna try to do that, no, I'm gonna go get me a Caribbean.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to fake it. And I have respect for the culture and to do that. And there's something about immigrants who are our complexion, may have lips like me, may share some Afro-centered descending, right, culture at some point. They automatically think because they have curly hair and you got curly hair that they know curly hair and they gonna try to do it. And that is where the Richelieu Dennis phenomenon and the sundial phenomenon and the era of Y2K natural, that's why you have a flux of immigrant brand owners that just could not fake it.
Right. Well, now I have 2 clips here from Wanga and Richelieu that says they bought this because they was kind of like gatekeeping, like they knew what others were trying to do. So I'm going to play both clips back to back so you can hear their position that what Cheryl just described. They're very well aware that people know that, Black people are the cash cow. Okay, so here we go. So this is Carolyn first, and I'll play Dennis next.
There's no problem with black media if you're paying us at the value of what you're pilfering from us. This isn't about only black people can partake in black media, can participate in black culture. It can be for all. But you need to return the full value to the group that creates it. The problem with black targeted versus black owned is black targeted does not return that money back to black. Every dollar you give VH1, BET, all of those dollars that go to non-black owned media companies do not come back to our community, do not create black generational wealth, do not create a reality where economic inclusion is a human right.
All right. So that's her take that she saw. They taking, but they ain't giving back. Okay. Now Dennis says
engage in these communities. The corporate mindset has been you go into these communities and you extract culture, you extract dollars. That's shifted as well. You now have to invest in the communities. You now have to engage with the people, because those people are the ones that are driving how people feel about your business, feel about your brand, how they engage, and they now have a mouthpiece. It's one is making sure that the people that are in your organization can actually affect change, right? Two is getting outside and becoming parts of the communities that you serve and engaging with the communities that you serve. And then the third piece is really the technology piece is making sure that as AI and new learning tools come online, that you're focusing them on what the future need states are, as well as the current need states that you miss. Because sometimes you just need to go and look behind and see all the things that you didn't do and just correct those.
I don't understand anything.
anybody get that? So they started off, they kind of, y'all see how they put because I'm with you, sure. I'm like, and your point is, so they both were saying, she said she used the word pilferage, he used the word extract. And then they both they started off, with the, you got to return. She said, return it back to black people. He said, invest in black people. But at the end, they both admitted that it's the bottom up, that black people are the people who are pretty much giving all of this stuff value. And so as we look into, the changing of the culture, now that they see how much money, because I'm working it back up, right? They both admit it. We see that black people give this stuff value because we have what? High index. But they're masking it with, you got to give it back to them. How are you going to give us something back that we know that we gave value? And so the fluff is in this word pilferage and infiltrate, because like you said, how do we we're asking the wrong questions when we say, well, why did he buy it? And you said, how much is it worth? I think we are starting the conversation, backwards. And we saw in both examples, they are well aware that it is Black Americans who are giving the Essence brand all of its value, but and that they have no intentions on giving any money back to the community. And I don't know that he has. I know he.
But the reason why we ended up here in the first place, because their brand of it, their twist of it, their concept of it, their perception of it is not valuable. Only our perception is valuable of it. It's not the fact that you get it in your hand, sir. It's not just the fact that you now are running with it. It's not that you now pick up the football. It's the fact that when you get the football, you do something strange to it by the time you get it to the end zone. You didn't do it like us. So now when you start playing with the ball and you got the ball, we get up out the seats and say, we don't like your brand of football. And we're out. And for that reason, we're out. So it's not just the fact that you go buy Madam C.J. Walker's home in Rivington, New York. It's not that you have it in your hands, Negro. It's once you get it in your hands, you do something freaky with it that we don't like. Because it's not just the fact, now when you get it, let's just say when you get it, you have to do something with it that is Black American to the point, because you did not know these things existed in your native Black African self. Why did you, or how did you know? That means that you were a student of Black American history. And something made you want it, because we ain't beating down your door trying to get on the plane and go and buy some shit that's in your native land. We ain't on the plane trying to do that. We certainly ain't on the foundational Blacks trying to go back somewhere in the West Indies and pick up something. My point is that, let me make my point a little. Okay, let's say we go get us a rum. The rum ain't the rum, even if the rum came from Jamaica. Don't make a difference. We got to put some Black hip hop, Black American shit on that damn rum unless somebody wants it. We have to figure out, as foundational Black people and ADOS Black people and Afro American Black people,
or just Black people
or Black folks, we got to figure out what is in the broth. What is it? What is Black? What is that thing that they're talking about? The moment Kendrick Lamar came on stage at the Super Bowl, what is that shit? What makes them want it? And and let me just say this, we don't know.
Yeah, right. And it's not for sale, because that once it, like Michael Jackson, what Khalid Muhammad said, after him there were none, and before him there were none, and after him there would be no more. See, once we're done with something, we're done. I think the cookie cut is where they're going with this. I do think innocently he really thought he bought a really good, mailing list, and that Black people would just blindly, it's how you have a subscription. Y'all know y'all got the subscriptions on your phone and y'all forget to cancel them, and they just keep taking money out of your account. Guilty. Like Roland Martin. Roland Martin got a whole lot of money. I don't even watch Roland Martin. I don't mind. He can have it, but I'm just using that as an example. And I think that's some of by default. And I know it's not a good business model, but it's very, to me, obvious. You can see the intentions, especially in their conversations. It's like if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, you baffle them with bullshit. Because they come out the gate, they say all the right things. They got to give it back. They taking stuff from, and they got to give it back. But you ain't. You're not. You can't.
If Black people are the Fort Knox, and if we're the gold and the Black gold underneath the ground, there's more where that came from. That I just think that Black peoples outside of the continental U.S. needs to understand that the Black people in continental U.S. are different.
Right. Well, Danny says,
I don't know, and let me just say this, and us recognizing our difference and really understanding too, we do know when you're disrespecting us.
Right. So and that's what Danny's saying.
There must be something that is not talked about. And just because we feel disrespected doesn't mean we're talking about division.
Hold on, y'all. Did y'all hear that? Come on, y'all. Put the hand clap emojis in the chat, because I'm about to go. Come on now. Hold on. That was a good one.
And so, and because we now know you don't understand that, because you went to what we call a white racist term and you went racist on us. Well, wait a minute. That's reverse racism. You can't do that. You can't. No. It's like Richard Pryor said. Just because I'm paranoid don't mean that your ass ain't looking at me. You know what I mean? I can be two things at once. Okay. Your ass is looking at me strange and I'm paranoid. You know what I mean? And so We're just, and let me just say this, and just to recognize that something different happened to us. We are a different people that was chosen to come to the continental U.S. And since we are here and we built the place that everyone wants to come, that we are now the soul of this shit. And now this is the richest country in the world. And we had a huge contribution in making it so. Just admit we're different. And when we say you're stepping on our goddamn toes, just get the fuck off.
Well, here is what Michael Barkley, who is actually the brainchild behind the activities at Essence Festival. So Cheryl sent me this podcast, and so here's what he had to say. Okay, we acted like we interviewing Essence for. We doing good with this. Come on, y'all hit that thumbs up button. All right, we can. Said we're gonna get y'all here.
Accusations that Essence is no longer centering African American culture.
That's unfortunate because we really are at the core African American. However, we're also Black. What you see is connecting those Black dots throughout the diasporas to show that we are one community. The Battle of Jollof partnership that we did with our sponsor AT&T was a brilliant idea because, again, you got jambalaya, you got jollof, you got all the different versions of this dish that are rooted in our homeland of Africa, and it has been delivered throughout the world in its different forms because of, again, the transatlantic slave trade.
I gotta say it, y'all. We might get a flag for it, but I'm gonna go ahead on and say it. That nigga was grasping. He was grasping. I was like, no, bro. No, he way.
He's way in over his head.
Sometimes you just gotta admit, you know what? To me.
Mm-hmm.
The Richelieu, anybody that's rocking with that whole situation over there, right? They are out of their ethos as an African, period. That's number one. And how do we know? Because they use the oldest playbook that Europeans use. And we see this when y'all talk about assimilation. Now here we go. They came in with the Trojan horse game.
Yes, they did. Come on, King Lolo.
You can't do the Trojan horse on no Black people. It's not.
Wait. They tried to do the banana in the tailpipe.
They tried. You can't do that, y'all. And I think that they think that we think that they, we stupid, but it don't work like that. It's like your mother say, give them enough rope. Come on, y'all, finish it. Drop it in the chat. Because I don't care where you from. I ain't knocking Pan-Africanism. I ain't knocking the diaspora. I'm not knocking that. I'm just like she said, we talking about the FBA. I ain't talking about the foundational Black that's anti-immigrants. I'm not talking about that kind of crazy talk. We talking about people who. I'm sorry. I'm getting upset.
No. You hitting it.
I was like, bro, we I'm from the hood. And from the hood, we call that nigga gang peep gang. And my father said, no, boo-boo. Good game, peep, all game. You can't come in with that. It's not going to work for him to say that he tried to use the rice jollof and saying that all of that coming out of Africa is.
And see, he was trying to correct himself, trying to find the words. And when people have not enough language, it means that they don't have enough.
That's the end of the show. Hot damn ho, here we go again. You are what I label as a nerve clucker. You're clocking my nerves, you MC sucker.
And at the end of the day, we are different. And we're not saying we're better. We're saying something happened on them plantations in this continental U.S. Something happened in those rooms. Something happened in those institutions. We lived with this son of a bitch. We're different. And it's not the fact that we're different and we want it to be different, because if we could have bypassed half of the experiences with European, British people,
We would have.
We lived in the house
with them. We nursed their children.
We're not. Do you understand? We are different.
Come on.
If we sing a different song,
right?
We sing it with a different emotion. We cut, we style, we do everything different. And maybe it's because we were converted. You can say whatever you want to say about us, but in the wash and in the rinse, Black Americans, Afro Americans are some different. We are just on some different shit.
Yeah.
Always will be. Now, we are not saying that makes us better.
That's the.
We're not saying that. Okay. Because you have to understand, when you read, no matter where you are in the world, when you read about Uncle Tom, when you read the book Uncle Tom's Cabin, Josiah Henson, that's a foundational Black American.
Oh, powerful. Harriet Beecher Stowe, she did that.
Now, at the end of the day, that black, sweet, that fabulous, wonderful, sweet, spiritual, godly of a man, that was a true Black American man.
That's no sellout.
So you have to understand, we're just different. Now, maybe we need to, as we are coming up on the 250 years and white folks want to contemplate their past, well, maybe it's time for us to contemplate it. What does soul mean? What does it mean? So we can explain this shit to these immigrants.
Right, but what I think that because it can't be replicated, because it's something that is in you, and we do have to. And this is not a when we say give them enough rope and let them hang themselves, that is not a punishment. That is not a like you're seething, like you want to see somebody, like it's not visceral, you know.
Now
it's just because we know what they're trying to do, and sometimes
sometimes you can't mix it because wait a minute. Sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you can't mix it because at the end of the day,
don't save them. They don't want to be saved.
All 54 countries, and they talk about Black Americans. They hear the music, they hear the fashion, they hear the culture. They hear. There's only one group on this planet that not only has consumerism, they have consumer influence. And when those brothers in no matter where they are in Cuba, and they are in South America, they are in Bahia, in Brazil, wherever they are, when they want to be and they want to cut hair, they want to be Black American. When they want to have, when they on those skates and they doing that, that is Black American culture. Hip hop was not created nowhere in the world but in the continental U.S.
And they try to say African.
Wait a minute. And we love giving up the goods. We love producing the goods. We love producing that house music. We love the disco. We love all of the gifts. We gave it freely. I think we need to just have one conversation and look at each other and go, put some respect on it.
Because that's and let me just add at the end of that, because that's African. That's African.
And
once it's like this. It's like Digital Underground, right? I gotta get all my hip hop in. We hit it, split it, lick it, and quit it. It's done. It's done. That's the soul. Ain't nobody trying to hold on to it. Once it's done. When you look at the history of Africa in antiquity, before all this other, I don't even know what y'all trying to do out here. We don't hold on to that stuff, y'all. Even when you just go to the beginning, let's just go on into Ethiopia with the Australopithecus and all that. They left. They didn't stay there, guys. They said,
and also,
we out.
All of
Just
it.
unique and different. Come on.
Right.
Look at that LinkedIn coming through. Come on,
Come on
LinkedIn.
now. Just
Come on
unique.
now.
That's all we
LinkedIn.
say. That's all.
Ain't nobody got no problem with that. And y'all trying to hold on to it. That's we have to understand. I like this too. Put some respect on it. It's strictly business, never personal, because everything must change. Y'all, we listen to what's his name? Randy Crawford. What's his name? George Benson. Nothing stays the same. Play the song. Everything must change. And you know, my daddy say, don't get attached to nothing you can't let go of, no matter what. It's gonna end. The hell King Tut taught us that. They try to kick. You can't take it with y'all.
Right, but this is all we trying to say. If you think you was impressed by that, here comes some more, baby. Because I can tell you, let me tell you what blackness does. If you think you was impressed by Harlem Globetrotters was one of the baddest teams ever. Then you come back and when you back with Kareem, then you Bernard King, and then you got, Clyde the Dry, then you got Allen Iverson, then you got, Magic Johnson, then here come Michael Jordan. If you don't think the next kid that's gonna blow your mind and blow all of them other ones out,
well, come on, church.
We just keep doing. And
like what we do.
We don't have to. We're not saying we better. We're not saying any of that. And I think that out of all the cousins, we all cousins, right? We have to say, wow, them cousins that stayed in that house with them, they different.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say we strange too, because at the end of the day, we got some strangeness with us
That's
too.
Right. That's right. I think that
we're different.
Right. To buy essence and to really think that you were going to put a fast one over on the people. I just think, come on, here we go. Maybe that's it. We baby kids. We don't die, we multiply. And the African brother, he has some clapback to this type of a response, right? Here's what the African brother had to say. Last one.
He's for the most part a lot more American than he is. Like, he's not like, like the way it described it, you made it sound like Patrice Lumumba. Somebody with that kind of name came and took over your business, just came straight from the continent and took over. That's not what happened. And we're not even, and up until now, for the most part, these are the people that have organized Essence Fest. This is what they look like. I don't think anybody has had any complaints for the most part. I don't think it was divisive when they were in control. I don't think there was any narratives being told. But for some reason, when anything seems to go wrong, we start to point fingers and look at each other and start to blame ourselves. And I hate to say this, and those of you who know, those Africans who know, guess what? Africans do this for their own festivals too. When it comes to Afrochella, when it comes to
again, no, sir. No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. The simple fact that you pointing the finger, you trying to blame somebody else. He might be an American, but what he ain't black. Because we don't do that. Why? Because we was all brought up. If you want something done right, what you supposed to do? Come on, chat.
Let me ask you a question.
Come on, let me get this out. Come on, chat. If you want something done right, if you want it done right, drop it in the chat. Because this is how we were raised. You can never be pointing that finger and blaming somebody else. It's on your black bootay. It's on you. He bought it. He got to own it. You can't point the finger at somebody to come back. We got our own festival. We got Afrochella. Afrochella, that's not an original. Boo! Bounce back. Bounce back. You way off. If you want something done right, you do it your damn self. You don't point the finger and say, well, really, you can't blame Dennis. He wasn't no Patrice Lumumba. How could you even say that? He didn't even know. I'm sorry. I'm getting upset. Right. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
Let me just say this. You had it right. No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir. You got the wrong part of the chicken, baby. Because at the end of the day, This is what Black people do with other people's cultures when we want to bring in other influences. And if y'all remember this, put it in the chat, y'all. Y'all remember a daishiki?
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all remember what a daishiki is?
Mm-hmm.
Did we have that fabric in America at that time?
No.
Okay. Now, we made something called daishiki, right? And when for some reason, we put that, right? We went to the continent and got an African pit cone. I don't even think Africa got a name for it. We put a name on it. We put some money on it. And then what we did was, because you have to remember, the one thing that makes us different is that we're orphans. We're orphans. Orphans have a mentality that we want to belong. Even though we produce some of the baddest culture, we are a cultural superpower. But we have a tendency to always want to what we call interconnectedness, to the point where we don't over and underdo any collaboration of culture. We're always trying to, because at the end of the day, we got the pick from the continent of Africa, right?
Right. You mean nobody invented that? I'm sorry, I'm being petty.
Oh, right. And at the end of the day, we took that particular money to make sure that we incorporated the roots of it. We don't, Black Americans have an orphan kind of chip that makes us want to be a part of something that was once before us. And that's just something that's embedded of. And maybe that's because of being a non-immigrant, being an orphan, a geographical orphan, maybe. But that is what makes us put respect on the things that we do if we're going to connect with our Polynesian brothers and sisters, our Asian brothers and sisters, our African brothers and sisters, and even our European brothers and sisters, because, there's some in our Canadian brothers and sisters, in our Hispanic brothers and sisters, and Latinos, and Caribbean. But our point is that we do African centeredness things, but the Afro movement was so inclusive. We included mudcloth. We allowed the African people to come in immigrant in our communities and be able to sell their products because we wanted to support them. And when you talk about the kind of conversation, all of those minor details that brother mentioned, those are so irrelevant. We're not trying to get you to act a certain way. We don't give a shit what you do or where you do it at. What we're saying is that when you get in a position and you have some of the relics of Black American history, when you get these things in your hand, learn what it is that you have, respect it, and be able to make it more valuable, and do not let it slip and filter, and then all of a sudden it ends up in Bain Capital's hands. And then now Sundial is owned by Unilever. And then it ends up because at the end of the day, I can tell you right now, if I hired that company, I'm going to get on social media dome and say it was my fault. It won't happen again, Black folks. The next time y'all come down in NOLA, that shit going to be right. I just own it.
You know what we would say? Here we go. But that's too much like being what?
Your last name.
Come on now. Y'all know how we do it. This is that stuff that they just don't get it. They just don't understand. We got our LinkedIn user saying Black America is a global superpower. I don't know if you all can see that in the chat. I'm going to put it up here. There's
Absolutely.
a link. It's not showing up in the YouTube feed, but I will get it and I will drop it in the chat afterwards. So thank you so much. We appreciate that. Go ahead.
But hair care was easier to infiltrate. And you can see that the Y2K, the lock era, the braid era, it wasn't easier because Black people allow other Black people in because we had all of the industrial complex. And so Y2K is where you get the flux of African and West Indian content creators. You probably have more content creators, of African descent than you've ever had probably in the history of Black hair care, because those writers, Lerone Bennett leading the Ebony magazine, there were immigrant other authors and journalists and writers, but let's just be clear, Y2K natural hair movement is the most immigrant hair care movement, and we don't need to ever talk about the dilemma that natural hair care is in now because of that. And because we always throw the baby away with the bathwater, because, the immigrants come here and they do better educationally.
Yeah, you got all these.
And they do this, they do that, and they do this. My goal is if anything, to leave this podcast to understand we appreciate everything. But what is really unfortunately, because when Carolina Wanga in that video of her sitting down and she's talking about how we need to do infrastructure economically, and we're talking about generational wealth, how can you do generational wealth when you don't do generational conversation? When you don't do generational memories, you don't do generational narratives, you don't get the story right, and you don't get the players right, you get the names wrong, and you misplace and start trying to slap the story, aka Lilia Bundles with the Madam C.J. Walker. When you tell stories wrong, then the truth is irrelevant, and the truth is obscured. And you can't find the truth, and you don't know where to land, you don't know where to dial your compass, and you don't know where to start because you don't have the story correct. What difference does it make if you're telling an impressionistic story? And so we do films, you've done the narrative, we've done have other projects coming, you're doing the industry fete du jour. We're trying to make sure that the story stays consistent and precise and accurate and critical. So the information is there for young people to, when they need to do something and find out about themselves and what happened, and get dates and data. So we'll know what we did, and we'll know how to get down in the future. So because we know the real story of an Annie Malone, or we know the real story of an Essence and those 4 fabulous Black men that started that magazine. We've got to get the narrative and the stories right and stop lying.
There you go. There you have it. And on that note, we hope you all have enjoyed our 164th episode. So the question, Essence Festival of Culture change cultures? The answer, of course, is yes, they did. They did, but now we understand
they did the
why.
old switcheroo.
Yeah, they did the old switcheroo. The Trojan horse, that was not going to work. Oh, the sneak attack. But in the meantime, don't forget, we are hosting the Fete du Jour. It's going to be at Journey Barber School. This is going to be exciting. Our first time inside of a barber school with the Fete du Jour. We're going to be celebrating with the ladies and gentlemen, their staff and their students, of course. And that's going to be on the last Sunday. We're talking about July 27th from 4 to 6 p.m. It is 100% free. Perhaps you're interested in being or becoming a barber. You want to go to school, then meet us over at Journey Barber School. It's located in Maple Heights, Ohio. So if you're nearby, come on and check us out. We will be back here on Thursday with Angie. I call her Princess Angie. And she is going to be talking about nail art. So for all of you nail professionals, you want to learn some more about nail art, what's the best stuff to use and how to keep stuff on there, and all that nail art, which tools to use, then Angie is going to help us out over on Planet Pluto Pseudo. Last week we had a wonderful time with Macy Dunbar.
We had a fabulous time.
So Macy's going to come back with it because next month is going to be on skin. So yes, this was absolutely a great show. I agree with you, Lawana. And this was definitely our virtual co-host weekend was definitely a wonderful discussion. And then last but not least, please, by all means, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and our LinkedIn user with the Ethogenesis. All right. I think that's the name of that link, I believe. I'm going to try to get that link. If you could drop that in my Facebook inbox, I would appreciate that because it's not letting me copy it when I try to get that. So if you could drop the link to your Black America is a cultural global superpower. That's a powerful statement. So if you could send that to me via my you can do it, send it to me on LinkedIn too. There's an inbox on LinkedIn. Then I can share it in the chat. So we thank you guys very much. We're going to be back next week. We're going to pick back up with remember our topic for the month. We're still counting down 25 years of the natural hair movement. And so we're going to go back into the topic of what has the natural hair movement taught us about cutting hair and all that good stuff. So we're going to pick back up and continue on with the split ends, but we had to digress so that you guys can understand the very pivotal role that hair played into Richelieu Dennis purchasing Essence. And now, like Cheryl said, we got to be able to get these stories right. Correct, Cheryl?
We love y'all. We love our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. We love you guys. I mean, we enjoy sharing.
And all of this.
You know, and I think that we got a project coming, right?
Yeah.
We haven't announced it, but it's about those stories.
Yeah. All right.
Those
all right, guys.
I think that the stories endear us together, actually.
Yeah, we got to keep them narratives going, the correct narratives. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button. Share. This was a robust conversation. I don't think you're going to hear it on other platforms because we took y'all all the way from the rootum to the tootum. That's what we do, okay? All right, Cheryl, you have a wonderful night, and I appreciate the magic that you bring to the platform and the understanding, the empathy, the love, because we love we like the floaters. Y'all know who the floaters is? Come on now, because we love everything and everybody. Come on, y'all, float.
Hey,
floater.
My name is Larry.
Hey.
And I'm
okay.
an Aquarius.
All right. Now, we love everything and everybody. We're not for that divisiveness. Okay. That is not what we're talking about. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you Thursday at 9 o'clock as we're going to talk about nail art. All right, y'all. Know we said we're signing out, right? We talk about a whole lot of peace, a whole lot of love, and for sure a whole lot of hair, which I got to straighten it out so I can get into my apps and everything. And don't forget, ooh, look at Cheryl's. I love it. Okay. If you ain't got this stuff, you know, it's kind of shaved off. You got some little bald patches. Y'all know how it is out here in the real world. Okay. Don't worry about that stuff. Why? Because all of that is beautiful too. And
so are you.
Have a wonderful night. We love you guys very, very much. Are you ready for the chit chat tonight?
I'm ready.
Bam, bam, bam. He or she said, cancel this damn show. They hate it. What? Hold on. Wait a minute.
Make black hair great again.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Now,
We're coming. Get our check.
Cheryl Morrow, the one, the only, the hair oracle.
I think it was Red Dot, and then we also had a cosmetology school instructor in the chat, Miss Denise West, Michelle Allen, Miss Foster. Dang, I missed your name. It's always nice to see Miss Foster in the chat. Michelle Allen, you know how much we love you too.
What? About a whole lot of peace. Cheryl, you order that in a bag of chips.